You are not racist if you do not want to date the specific guys within that race. Let's get started. So, one thing about it is racist means that you think your race is superior or another race is superior to another race. For example, that's why they have the word called white supremacy, black supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, your preference doesn't make you racist. And that person, if they don't choose you, it doesn't mean that they're racist. So, for example, let's say you're an Exotical Barbie, right? And one thing I noticed is that, especially in African American culture, when race, is that I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out my words here. I'm so sorry. I sometimes get confused with other words. Anyways, is that they try to, like, if, for example, let's say you're a mixed Exotical Barbie or you're like a light skinned Exotical Barbie. I'm using those two as an example. And a black guy is trying to, oh no, not black guy, like you're a monoracial black person comes up to you and you guys talking, whatever, things are going nice, and they was to ask you like, oh, do you date black men, or do you find this black guy attractive? And you're like, oh no, I don't really find I really don't date within that category, you know what I'm saying? And they get upset because you don't want to, you're not racist, not or you're not prejudiced or anything. And one thing I noticed with Exotical Barbies is that they try to make you feel bad for that. You don't have to feel bad if you don't want anything. For example, if you don't like waffles, you see why people like waffles, but you don't like waffles, or something. You don't probably don't even see why people like waffles at all, you know. But you never put them down, or you don't think less of them, you know. I only using waffles as an example because I know there's some people who are simple-minded who can't even understand what I'm talking about. Anyways, and then you prefer pancakes. You like pancakes, you know, you eat them all day, you know, but you also have boundaries where, you know, you still have set same standards where you want your pancakes a certain type of way. You're not racist. You just have a preference. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel as though that it got so normalized with black supremacy, where if you don't want to date within your race, and if you're like monoracially black, you know, on the channel, or if you want to go outside and whatnot, you're called whitewash, you're called Uncle Tom, you call all these types of names, and even go as far as be like, oh, you betraying your own race, you do not like your race or whatnot. And I think it stems from an insecurity of them, like, for example, if you're willing to go outside or whatever, your race or whatever, because they're like, oh, how come you won't date us, you know? And when they say us, they really mean them. And because of insecurity, of like, oh, like, you don't think we're beautiful enough, you don't think enough of us are good looking, you know? And because of that insecurity, they try to project on you harshly, and that's why they call you all those things, even though you are not. And also, too, for example, they get upset. Like, for example, the Jackson 5, no, not the Jackson, yeah, the Jackson 5, the Jackson family, the Michael Jackson family, whatever. I will make a video about them, but how many people try to say how the Jacksons hate their blackness because the family has a lot of them have white grandbabies and whatnot. They're like, oh well, they hate their blackness. They hate their blackness. You having mixed children, or you marrying someone outside your race, does that mean you hate your blackness? And usually people say that are very insecure. And I remember how I saw some people who do have, like, for example, a white person who married a black person, they wind up like having, I guess, like grandchildren that's like 1/4 black and another race and whatnot, maybe people like, oh my gosh, they love being black and whatever. You know, they basically try to project and be like, oh, see that they love black people. See, they're more black than you guys. Also, too, comparing your blackness and so with that being said, I will make a video about this. They're also very hypocrites because they get mad that you want to go outside your race, that you create like mixed children or whatever, but they the same ones that want to date your that either your phenotype if you're a mixed person or light skin, or they want to make mixed children. Like for example, they try to date, for example, like for example, black women who do project like this, and then they be like, oh yeah, I want to be a white guy when I want to have kids. Well, don't you know if you have kids, it be mixed, and won't you be a hypocrite because you just call them, you know, what's I call it? What's I call it? Say they hate their blackness because they did the exact same thing, and they'd be like, oh no, because I'm a black mom, so you know I would teach them to love their blackness. I'm not gonna be like a white mom and black husband. I'm gonna be a black mom and a white husband where I'm gonna teach them about our culture and whatnot. Okay, you're still making mixed children by the end of the day. You know what I'm saying here? Anyways, this is all for the video. I will create more content like this, but let me know. Comment down below. Have you ever experienced this? Have you seen this happening? Had this happened to you? You know? Comment down below. Like and subscribe for some more. Bye, Exotical Barbies.